Hi everyone, I'm Holly and welcome to a new video. So I'm realizing summer's coming. It's getting warm. Right now I'm in the basement, it's nice and cool, which made me confused because I wasn't sure if I should wear pants or not. And so I just opted for a tank top and shorts and now my toes are cold. Anyway, a lot of people are gonna start thinking about that college university stuff. So I thought maybe it would be a good idea for me to give you a list of tips for living with roommates. Who doesn't like a list of tips? I've lived with a fair few roommates. I think it's 10 people now total. No, maybe more. Anyway, I have some experience and I'd like to share my experience with you so you don't have to deal with some of the bullshit that can be associated with living with other people. Don't know why I'm doing this with my hands, but it's like 9 o'clock at night and I've got coffee. Very good coffee. So let's dive in, shall we? Tip number 1, keep your shit cleaned up. Now I know I said this is about dealing with roommates, but you don't want to be the roommate that people have to deal with. Just keep your shit cleaned up. Sometimes this doesn't work out very well, especially when you live with someone that does not give a shit and they just leave everything everywhere and they don't clean up their dishes. It's a big pain in the butt. Now if you're just living with one other person, if this happens, it's best to try to talk to them about it. Maybe work on a plan, and I know some of you are going, but talk to them, that might lead to confrontation and it could be a problem. If you're in residence though, the residents have like people you can talk to that can help you resolve the situation. They can kind of be a mediator between you two. Do your best to deal with that on your own first and then maybe bring someone else in. And if you are in a house with people, usually there's 1 or 2 people that are going to be messy, but there's going to be other people that aren't and are going to share similar feelings with you. So it's best to talk to them too and kind of see what the group says and maybe sit down and have a conversation. And I know I'm saying this like it's super easy to do and it's probably not going to be. I don't know what to tell you. That's my best advice. That's what I got. Tip number 2. Now this one's important. In my time in college, I saw this especially in first year because it was like I was in residence and there was a lot of 2 people living together. People would split groceries like in half. This didn't always go well. I would recommend against it. Maybe split condiments like mustard and ketchup. That's probably okay, but as far as like the full grocery bill, you might run into problems such as going to the fridge to get something and it being gone. If you decide to take turns buying groceries, sometimes only one person seems to be taking the turn and that's probably you. You don't want to do that. Tip number 3, designate some kitchen space. When you move in with someone, decide who's gonna have what cupboard and who's gonna have what area of the refrigerator. Just so you don't have to worry about food getting in places it shouldn't be, people saying this is mine when it's not. It just saves a lot of hassle and it kind of allows you to know if food goes missing that hey, someone is taking someone else's stuff and that's not very cool. Tip number 4, if you have a problem with someone, you should try to talk to them. And I said this with tip number 1, but this is with other problems like say loud noises and stereos and late night partying. If you've got a problem, you should probably talk to them first and try to be nice. And if things don't work, maybe up the level to maybe asshole level because they're being an asshole to you. It's not fair. It's a two-way street. People gotta respect, you know. But try your best just to talk, and it's something that's not always gonna work. Some people are just jerks. It's just the way it is. Tip 5, clean the bathroom. Even if you're the only one that does it, trust me, it'll save a lot of hassle and a lot of grief in the long run. Take the time, clean the toilet because that gets really gross. I remember moving into a place where my mom came in and looked at the shower, which had this like stuff all built up, sprayed some magic spray and it all came off, but it's just like, it's not fair to the next person to let all that grime build up, and plus it's not fair to you to have to like feel gross in your own bathroom. So take the time and clean that, even if no one else will. Tip number 6, if you're planning on moving in with close friends, be careful. This can be a really good thing or it can end really horribly. I've seen people move in with their best friends or like their really close friends and end up losing friendships over like fights in the house, because knowing someone and living with someone are 2 very different things. But when you live with them, you start to have to deal with all their like own little habits that maybe you didn't know about, whether it's like leaving wet towels places or something like that. I lived with friends and it turned out fine. Like, I mean, there were days where we'd all be tired, be a long week of school, and we'd all be a little bit like grouchy, but no one ever bit anyone's head off. It was pretty good. Tip number 7, keep your showers short. Don't be that person. If there's a lot of people living in one house and there's only 1 or 2 bathrooms, it's best to keep it short, especially if like your schedule sort of conflicts with someone else's. It's not fair to be that person that's like, oh, I'm gonna just take a million years and put all my makeup on in the bathroom while other people are trying to get ready and now they're all late for class because I'm a dick. Tip number 9, this is another big one. I recommend if there's not a lock on your door when you move in, like if you move into a house, talk to the landlord about putting one on, like a deadbolt, and keep it locked whenever you're not home. There was a time where we all went home for Christmas holidays when I lived with my 4 friends, and when we came back, we all sat down and we're in the living room, and it just, something was off. Something was weird, and we noticed there was like a few different movies missing. Some of the girls were missing random items from their rooms. I had kept mine locked, so I wasn't missing anything from my room. But it turns out someone I think that lived there previously had a key because they just stole really random items. Like there was a whole stereo and like a PlayStation and like an iPod they could have taken, but they took like really low risk stuff, so I'm guessing it's someone that one of us knew or had lived there. But anyway, save yourself the trouble if anyone does break in, and keep your shit locked. Plus, if you're moving in with strangers, you don't know who they are and you don't know who they're gonna have over, and you don't want them rooting through your stuff. That would suck. Just saying, don't do it. Keep your door locked. Tip number 9, remember your alarm clock. This has happened a few times with roommates, and they go home for the weekend or like 4 days, and their alarm clock is set to go off at 7 a.m. every morning, but their door is locked and you cannot get to it. This is an evil thing to do. There was a lot of times in college, first year, especially when you live in residence and you've got people on either side who would forget their alarm clock, and then you'd wake up because their alarm clock is screaming. And it's worse when the alarm clock is in another room over. You can't get to it at all. And the final tip of the day is that if things are really bad, and I said this in some other tips, don't be afraid to talk to your landlord or someone who works in residence. They should be willing to help you and work on sorting things out. Landlords, they really like their property. Some not so much. There are some scummy landlords, let's be honest. I got pretty lucky and I had a pretty good landlord for my last 2 years at college that I was able to talk to when things got really bad, because he had high standards for his housing and he didn't want to see it get wrecked. When I was in residence, I had a couple friends that had roommates that were quite troublesome and had to have someone come in and mediate the situation. Those people are there for that, and a lot of times some of them are even there to counsel you if things are shitty. So don't be afraid to talk to people is like the biggest thing. So that's it for my top 10 tips. That's a mouthful. For living with college roommates. If you like these tips and you think they're going to be helpful, just like the video, that'd be awesome. And if you want more videos, please do subscribe, because I do release them. Try to every week. And I'll see you real soon.